Nigeria is confronted with different security challenges like terrorism, banditry, kidnapping, among others, affecting social and economic lives of the people, aside the loss of lives. Security operatives have been engaging these groups with a view to ensuring peace and security of lives and properties. However, the Nigerian Defense Headquarters, through its Director of Defense Media Operations, Major General Edward Buba, has confirmed the rise of a new terrorist group called Lukarawas, operating in the northwestern region of Nigeria. According to security sources, the coup in Niger and Mali created a vacuum for terrorists to exploit gaps in border security, infiltrating northern Sokoto and Kebbi states. Before the coup, joint operations between Nigerian and Nigerian forces had helped suppress such threats. The new group has been using difficult terrains to launch attacks and spread their extremist ideology in remote areas of Nigeria. Initially, local communities welcomed the terrorists, mistakenly believing they had good intentions and failed to report their presence. They are now imposing their leadership and carrying out terrorism activities on the people, prompting the need for measures by Nigerian security. This and more will be the focus of Nigeria today. I am Ikaria Glinton, and thanks for joining us. Now with me in the studio for the conversation is Dr. Sani Aliyu. He's a Corps Commander General, Neighborhood Enlightenment and Safety Organization. This organization is a counter-terrorism and counter-insurgency organization. You're welcome to Nigeria today.
Thank you for having me.
Also with us for the conversation is Dr. Sadiq Hassan. He's a strategic security expert. You're welcome to Nigeria today.
Thank you for having me.
Now, I'll start with you, Dr. Sani. We talk about, formerly we were talking about Boko Haram and the rest of them. Now we have a new terrorist group called Lukarawas Group. Now, can you tell us a little bit about this new group and the kind of, their modus operandi?
Well, it is quite disheartening to say the least at this time of our turbulent security situation in a country that we are able to even give this space again for so-called Lukarawas to come into existence in Nigeria. It is very sad that we do not have what is called proactive measures. We do not see things before they happened. And for every country, you must have a very active security organization, especially in terms of profiling security situation at any point in time. You should be able to talk about security measure of your country in the next 20, 30, 40, 100 years to come. You should have such program and such people that will be able to determine or to foresee any situation before it happened. Unfortunately, Nigerians, we are not learning. And I'm not discounting our security organization. Especially the military have been doing well, But, we cannot lump everything on the military. We have other security agencies that are supposed to be constitutionally functioning. And we even equally have a border security, a border agency where there is a lot of opportunity to create border security activities, intelligence gathering, and all what have you. But unfortunately, everybody is sleeping. We have secret police, we have DSS, we have all this NIA, DIA, and all these lots of constitutionally constituted agencies that seems not to be existing in Nigeria. It is a shame for our country today that at this minute, upon over 20 years or 15, 20 years of fighting terrorism in Nigeria, that another group can come from Sahel and see Nigeria as a safe haven for them to come and operate, meaning that our border security, like our border areas like I keep saying, are still one of the worst, most porous borders we are having in this part of the world. A country like Nigeria with over 1,050 unmanned borders. What else do you expect? What else do you expect? Every jig, dick, and Harry within the African Sahel area feel Nigeria is a safe haven. They can come and operate at any time. And of course, nobody should, the military or whoever they are, shouldn't blame the local communities. They are vulnerable. They
are we really the worst? You mentioned earlier that we are one of the worst
unsecure borders in this part of the world.
Okay,
we're a country that has 1,050 unmanned borders. What else do you expect to happen in that country? Safety, security, how?
Okay, just let me. I will have to stop you here so that Dr. Sadiq will give us his own perspective. Now, Dr. Sadiq, I know in spite of a lot of measures have been put in place,
yes,
to enhance our counterterrorism effort, we still have these issues of groups, yes, springing up. Yeah. Now, this current local hours, yeah, another term. So why do we keep having this?
Okay, in a human evolutions, you expect a lot of changes. Globally, today security is dynamics. Yes, it is only the responsibility of the military, the armed forces, for territorial integrity, for protections. I quite agree with him to a large extent where we should be proactive. And the area where we should be proactive is in the issue of offensive capability. Meaning before it happens, we are aware and we take it to them. But let's come back again home. The actual that spring this up was because of the fall of legitimate government in Niger republics and Mali. So these are what we call security implications when you have interruptions with legitimate government, because there will be a lot of security challenges that comes up. So it's as a result of that that you have the new terror group today. But having said that, that does not mean Nigeria Armed Forces is not on top, because our relationship with Niger and Chad, it gives easy access. And what caused this also is because when the government of Niger, when the military take over, the joint operation we have is no longer existing because that bilateral relationship has been cut off. So we have not been able to constitute a new one that are in tandemous with both countries. That is why you see this has happened. If those joint services are there, possible you will not hear this, because those operations has intelligence within them, where certain things you don't need to hear is they'll be able to take care of it. So it's not that Nigeria Armed Forces are not on top. We can only say that, look, based on what has happened, it is a test. They should not allow it to grow. Just our experience when Boko Haram started gradually, because that is the way they start. If you have a deeper information, you realize that these people relate with some of Nigerian community as if they live together. So that is why some cases are still difficult, because it's like your brother tried to turn against you, which in some cases it takes time for you to know and all that. So this is the angle we should look at it.
Okay.
That because, as I've said, the fall of the previous government in Niger Republic, which the joint task forces we have that have been fighting Boko Haram and other terrorists. So that joint forces today are no longer, because of that gap. It is what now gives the room for these terrorists that just spring up immediately.
Okay. Now, back to you, Dr. Sani. I understand your passion when you're in your opening remark. But looking at it from Dr. Sadiq's point of view, you can also know that there was a kind of, will I say a problem, is a kind of ripple effect from what happened in Niger, and now the implication is what we are seeing. But again, if you listen to our opening introduction, you see that these people have been living amongst the community. And they didn't say nothing about it. They allowed it because they felt they had good intention. So what do you have to say to this?
As far as I'm concerned, Nigeria is a sovereign state. And I was in one of your programs about 3, 4, 5 years ago, when I was, before the fall of Libya, we spoke about how there's going to be a lot of infiltration of arms and ammunition into country with the fall of Libya. And as a sovereign state, you need to prepare yourself against the unforeseen circumstances that you think you envision them that they're going to happen. And we are training our officers and men so that a Nigerian state will be protected. I have no any excuse to give to any of the military or any of the agencies for this situation that occurred now, because as trained personnel or trained secret police or intelligence officer, you should be able to forestall, like I tell you, to forestall a situation before it happens in the next 10, 20, 30, 40 years, and should be prepared for it. As far as I'm concerned, there is a failure. Whether the Nigerian Republic government has failed, as far as I'm concerned, that's not an excuse, because we saw it failed. What did we do to forestall such occurrence with the failure of the state of Niger?
Okay.
Is it that we have to fold our hands and allow this thing to erupt before we start blaming Niger's government failure? No, Nigeria is a sovereign state, and Nigeria must be able to protect its territorial integrity and defend its internal security.
Okay, that brings me to the next question, Dr. Sani. You are a Commander General of a neighborhood enlightenment organization that, of course, that deals with counterterrorism and counterinsurgency. Tell us, what has your organization been doing, to avert situations like this?
Thank you very much. You see, the issue, why the Nigerian security system is having a problem is lack of openness to collaboration. It's lack of openness to engage the locals. That's where the intelligence are. If you are engaging the local communities or organizations like Neighborhood Enlightenment and Safety Organization, that we have over 70,000 youths that are well trained in terms of procuring intelligence. You can just see that and you tap into them. This thing wouldn't have been happening. American has come to meet us and interact with us. European Union has come to meet us and interact with us. Nigerian government up to now hasn't come to meet us. So you see, the failure of the security agency to know that they cannot be everywhere at the same time. They need to collaborate with the locals, to get proper information at the right time, or to be able to stop a situation before it occurs. That is where the problem lies. Up till today, there is not any viable cooperation between the Nigerian between NESO and any of the Nigerian security agency, with the exemption of the military, that we together with us were fighting Boko Haram in the northeast. And it is part of our initiative as an organization that we created what is called a civilian JTF. So we have all our boys working around that in those areas. But the NSA, the National Security Advisor Office, need to harmonize, look into what the organizations that are into procuring intelligence, and harmonize them together and see how they can create working relationship between them and the government agency we have on ground, because you cannot have the police everywhere, you cannot have the military everywhere. They cannot do it. Nigeria, for all intent and purpose, is a country of over 200 million people with an area of over 700,000 square kilometers. So how can a total force combined with the police and the military that are far less than 1 million, be able to procure security for over 200 million people spread in over 700,000 kilometers? Is it possible? It's not possible. It's a huge joke.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We'll take a short break now, and the conversation will continue after the break. Don't go away.
Implementation of the ruling is also dependent on another aspect or another arm of government.
Nowhere in the world will allow, under digital economy, for banks not to be dispensing domestic currency in that economy.
What will make this one different?
We want to know what they do as occupation. All of these are attributes that are questions have been designed to investigate.
In a few days to come, you see that we are all around their own crannies and everywhere in Nigeria, telling people to cooperate.
Welcome to Nigeria Today. Welcome back. In case you are just joining us, this is Nigeria Today, and we are looking at halting new terrorist group in Nigeria. And of course, I have two security experts with me here in the studio. Now, to you, Dr. Sadiq.
Yes.
Now, he's mentioned quite a lot of things, and of course, the task
Yes.
is a daunting task.
Yes.
But we are also equal to the task.
Yes.
Right. So, what are we are looking at the way forward right now.
Yes.
What is
That's
the
where I'm
way
coming
forward?
to.
Okay.
I quite disagree to some of his submissions, because when you talk of neighborhood, you are talking of internal security. We need to understand it. And internal security ideally are the purely responsibility of Nigerian police. While when you talk of territorial integrity, which involve the external, that is the armed forces, which is the Navy, Air Force, and Army. So the current challenges we are facing, the terror group, the new one, are purely the military. But we are not saying that collaborations will help in terms of information gathering and all that. But something you need to understand, even America today cannot boast of 100% security, despite their proactive and their offensive capability. Now, first of all, you must study the actions that happen, how it happened, the group, their modus of operandum, before you think of how do you be able to counter. It is quite different from when you are talking about a neighborhood watch, to watch us and get informations. Now, a terror group, we have seen that the defense has established that the fall of the Niger government, with the joint task force, you cannot just enter Niger territory without having a collaborations. The same way, they too cannot just enter our territory. You remember during the time in 1984 when we have Bitisini, that was the former president was the GOC of Northwest, where he moved the military even down to Cameroon and tried to put our flag there. So you must have that collaborations, because there are international law that guide the state. So the fall of the government, the joint operations which were there before are no longer existing, because which means when you say joint, they combine the forces that be able to fight on this both side of fate, if they come into this way or the other way around. This is the way it will go. Now defense has come to say that this is what causes it, which means when we are having that collaborations, this could not be able to happen because they have the proactive, they are getting informations. Now back to issue of what do we do. It's a good thing, first of all, that the current service chief who are in place today, and even the acting chief of army staff, that they should make sure this terror group are totally eliminated, so that there's no space for them to grow to the level of where they become menace. So these are the things we are now to look, because the people that are part of them are part of us. So you could see that are very difficult. That is why a certain step must be taken.
So what are the steps that should
So
be
the
taken?
step to be taken now is that now they are now knowing that, okay, where are their locations? What kind of activities are they involved? And remember, in military organizations, you operate with rules and regulations, because there are certain actions you cannot take it. Otherwise, there will be casualty, and it's against the law. So all these are there. In fact, to a large extent, there are certain weapons you cannot easily use it, except when it comes to use. Some you have to even get permission from United Nations or informing them.
No, you're talking
So,
about...
but these are the things that you might not know. But the point is that now that this thing has happened, that's why that we can say they should make sure within, they should not allow it to extend, so that you give a total eliminations. so that they don't grow to the level where they become menace. Where it's so difficult is because the people who are perpetrating this are your people. So this is where you think it is not the way sometimes we look at it, that is not the way it is.
Now,
but if we prepare, we should be able to have the pre-informations, and that is what the defense has been able to gather, that this is who they are and this is what causes it, and they make sure that they will go after them. What we can now say is to give them the timeline.
Okay, now, Dr. Sadiq, I know you talked about earlier on, you talked about the neighborhood,
yes.
what that is within the, like, within the country.
Yes, it's internal security. Neighborhood is within the internal country.
But now we're talking about the people living amongst our people.
Yes.
Even to the extent that some of our people welcome them, thinking they have good intentions. At the end of the day, they now become kind of monsters.
If I give you an example on this matter, there are some of our indigenous that they co-op into and pay them ransom and inculcate them to it. Who is going to give you that information?
So how do they target these vulnerable people?
Yeah, because
to recruit them?
We also have what we call the free soldiers, the youth that are not employed. We are still a nation that largely the youth are not employed, are not engaged, where some of them, in many ways, you try to engage them, they follow suit.
Okay.
So how do you recruit those who are members of Boko Haram, who are your citizens? Due to because some of them, they have nothing doing, then with little things, then they can be able to use it to coerce them, and they decided to be part of them, and they are paid. It's an organized.
So how can we discourage this?
So it is where, yes, that is where we also say that there are non-kinetic means of fighting insurgency by making sure you don't have a laid down soldiers who are there not doing anything, that are youth in bracket, where terrorist group can easily recruit them into the system.
Thank you very much. Now, back to you, Dr. Sani. Earlier on, you talked about we having a limited number of security operatives, and of course, having a large, spans of land and a lot of people. So what role does technology play in trying to nip this particular situation in the bud?
Yes, technology plays a very large role, but you need to have people on ground that are going to man the technology. That is one. Secondly, I want to correct an impression to him that what is happening is within the territorial integrity of Nigeria, and therefore it is internal. The military is just helping the police, because there is no place in the world that the police can actually match terrorists. But if we are talking about the purview of operation, it is actually a police responsibility, because it's internal security.
So what's the way forward here?
When you are talking of territorial integrity, you are talking of external aggression, a country attacking Nigeria. That is when the military will now come in and defend the country's territorial integrity, because this means another country is trying to enter our country. But when you are talking of terrorism, terrorism is not the act of territorial integrity, please. The military is just stepping in to assist the police.
So how do we address this situation?
Now, this situation, like I said, the internal security operatives should know that it is not possible to win this situation without intelligence. President Muhammad Buhari has said it earlier, that to combat terrorism, you need intelligence, 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 intelligence. And you cannot procure intelligence without deploying locals into it.
Okay.
And now he is saying that the locals are lay about. A lot of youths are lay about because they are vulnerable.
No, that's not what he's saying.
That's what is happening. A lot of youths within our localities don't have work to do. So they are lay about, they are vulnerable, that you can easily access them with money.
Thank you.
So we here as an organization, we are providing those youths with belonging, patriotism, to say, okay, I want to contribute to the fight of the country.
Thank you.
This is why I'm saying the military and other security agencies need to tap into the opportunity so that they can procure security intelligence to defend and protect such occurrence.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. I really wish we had more time to talk more on this issue. But this is where we draw the curtain for today's episode of Nigeria Today. A very big thank you to Dr. Sadiq Hassan, a strategic security expert. Thank you so much for your time and your contribution. We also had Dr. Sani Aliu, who is the Corps Commandant General, Neighborhood Enlightenment and Safety Organization, which is a counter-terrorism and counter-insurgency organization. Thank you so much for your time and your giving us your expertise contribution. Well, thank you for being part of the program. Remember, Nigeria Today is every weekday at 7:30 p.m. on NTA News 24. You can also check out this episode on www.youtube.com/NTA News 24 Hub. I'm Ikaria Clinton. Have a wonderful weekend.